Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that and appreciate you holding the hearing. I have to say I'm shocked this morning to hear what the recommendations from my seatmate, Senator Barrasso. He's never before recommended that I read the New York Times, so I don't know, maybe he's becoming more enlightened. Dr. Gruensbeck, since you're in charge of the Energy Information Administration, you've talked about these models. Have you run a model on this particular piece of legislation? How much more, and I gather you've already told us it's going to cost the American consumer more, how much more in direct costs and indirect costs is this going to cost the American consumer?
Thank you for the question. I don't think I have that on the top of my head. To be honest with you, I think that electricity bills will be higher.
And not only the direct cost, but also the indirect cost that American consumers pay in every service and every commodity that they buy has got to be higher. Am I right on that?
Well, again, I think electricity in all sectors the 18% is averaged across all users. Electricity is about, last time I looked, is about a third, industrial, residential, and commercial.
But the number you gave was without this piece of legislation.
No, actually, the 18% is this piece of legislation in 2035. So there's very little effect on prices over the next decade. And then in the middle of the next decade, you start to see a divergence between the baseline without this legislation and the case with this legislation.
Mr. Sandalow, let me turn to you for a minute. And first of all, let me say that I share with you the absolute optimism that the American people can do this. Let me tell you where we part ways. I have absolute confidence in the American people. I have zero confidence in the government, this administration, a Republican administration, or any administration to make these innovations work, to encourage the American people to be innovators. You noted correctly that for 2 centuries, America has led in technology innovation. And you also observed that we're falling behind. I would point out, and I would urge, that the reason we're falling behind is just what Senator Barrasso so eloquently pointed out, and that is the heavy, heavy hand of the government and the shackles of government regulation that hold innovators back who want to produce, who want to create, who want to increase our quality of life. This government, and if you look around you, almost every enterprise of this government doesn't meet the standards, doesn't meet the dream of the American people. The more the government gets involved, and they get involved every day more and more, it seems like the further backward we go. And if you don't believe that, just look at these statistics about what the American people think of its government. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.